This was the scene in Austin in September of 1990. Gang warfare had again taken its toll in our city. Today on Austin Faith Dialogue, we'll look at the problem through the eyes of those who experience life in gangs. Austin Faith Dialogue, a public affairs series at the crossroads of religion and life. Austin Faith Dialogue highlights the interaction of the religious community with the social and cultural issues in the area in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTBC TV. Join us now for this week's edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. This Newsweek cover in March seems to have put all of America on notice. U.S. classrooms have turned to killing grounds. In urban areas, a major player in that killing ground are the gangs. Hello, I'm Richard Thompson, pastor of Central Presbyterian Church, and your host for this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. The gang-related shooting we showed you at the top of the program brought the city's gang problem back into the social spotlight for Austinites. But the more we talk about gangs in our city, the more the problem seems to grow. We start out this program with a status report from producer Roger Lotz, who looked at the gang problem in Austin and found a program that might hold the key to a solution.
Drive through most any part of the city of Austin, and you will find this, graffiti. It was probably spray painted by a youth in a wannabe gang. These gangs are the groups in which young people are not yet involved in any hardcore criminal activity, but the kids are willing to take serious risks to prove themselves and find their identity. Even these gang activities should be sending a loud and clear message to us all.
The gang problem in Austin is serious. The graffiti spray painted on everything from buildings to, well, trash bins is an eyesore, but it's just the tip of the iceberg in a situation that turns basically good kids into youth at risk.
This shooting on Congress Avenue in September of 1990 probably did more to bring the city of Austin's gang problem to the forefront than any other recent event. The shooting, which took place in broad daylight near a busy downtown intersection, was classified as gang-related by the police. The impact this serious crime made on the city was immediate. Citizens met, sometimes even in local churches, to discuss this newfound urban crisis. Many suggested solutions, some even picketed to vent their anger. But almost 2 years later, many gang experts will say that the gang problem in Austin is at a standstill, not increasing, but not going away either. And unfortunately, the battle should involve more than just the Austin Police Department, who, to their credit, have created a special liaison unit to specifically deal with this issue. In September of last year, Officer Robert Martinez of the city's Gang Liaison Unit discussed his unit's difficulties dealing with the gang problem in Austin.
I've been a police officer for 25 years, and I've never seen the violence that we had in 1990 involving kids, and especially gang members. We had 8 kids that got killed, from 14 years old to 19 years old in 1 year, and that's 8 too many. We had 2 little kids that committed suicide trying to get out of gangs. They couldn't take the pressure. We had 125 kids that wound up at our hospitals, seriously hurt, as far as getting hurt seriously, trying to get in gangs, walking the line.
It may be that the answer to the gang problem lies here, in the church. 3 years ago at the San Jose Catholic Church, Cindy Martinez began a ministry that gives gang members a place to go, a place to really find themselves without the pressures or intimidation of the gang culture. It's called the Youth Outreach Gang Intervention Program. Martinez's program now calls the Parker Lane Methodist Church its home. This Austin-based church, located just east of IH-35, has allowed Martinez's program to grow by reaching out to gang members of all denominations and to the many young people in gangs who have no real religious ties. Today, the Youth Outreach Gang Intervention Program, through weekly streetwise meetings, helps about 70 gang members, but the mission is still the same, helping young people get out of gangs.
Most youth today, if you talk about church or you talk about your involvement in church, right away they question you as holy roller, too good, Mrs. Goodish, you know, wants to be better than me. But yet, somewhere in their life, as children, growing up, someone has told them about God or about church. So there's that hope. They're hoping that that's going to be something to cling on to. Because once they do get involved, once they do give it a chance, they see, hey, there is something here. There's something good here. It's no more of, oh, it's just going to make us pray and kneel on our knees all day and all night. Because that's how they vision church. They don't, now they're able to see it as just people coming together. Because I tell them the church is just a building. It's us, it's the community, it's all of us together that make it church. And what makes it church is with us getting involved and caring and loving each other.
One of Cindy's success stories is Jaime Rojas. His story of living life in a gang is very chilling. He now also speaks with pride of his new life, a life changed due to his participation in Cindy Martinez's program.
I was considered youth at risk. I mean, because my involvement was so high in all these things that nobody thought I would make it. But I just turned it around after one incident happened, and it shouldn't have happened, you know, for me to change was my friend passing away. And at that point, I saw that I needed to make a change and turn it around. And I was also still praying every day, you know, daily, and being with Street Wise to, you know, how I'm going to get ahead and what I need to do to prepare for that. And all that's helped me accomplish many things that I've got now. When I was involved in dealing drugs, I was making $1,000 a day, and with a friend of mine. And in doing so, it was just the jet set life. Always doing whatever you wanted to, having money just for whatever, you know, whatever reasons. And not really realizing, you know, how much money I had. If I would put it away or dealt with it in a right manner, I'd have a lot more now. And putting savings or something. Now I'm working in, you know, two-week job, you know, get paid every 2 weeks, making $150. And it's weird. And I sometimes think, well, golly, I can do that in 5 minutes. Yeah, but the point is I'm learning responsibility by getting in work on time, getting out of work, you know, cleaning up, being, you know, a good person and not hurting others by selling drugs.
But the program may now be at a crossroads. Martinez wants to see her program grow into a resource center that could provide services such as counseling, food, and even clothing 24 hours a day. But while Martinez wants to see her program grow, she also realizes that her main mission to help gang members will always be difficult.
Right now, this youth at risk is scary. People are afraid of it. You know, look at the shootings that are happening. Look at the drugs that are in the schools, the guns that are in the schools. You know, yeah, people say, I want to help, I want to do my part, but I don't know if I want to go that far. Maybe if I just stay home and send some money, that's my part, but it's not that. It's a matter of us going out there and saying, hey, I do care. This is my street, this is my home, this is my school, and we're going to go out there and do something about it.
As the report showed, we've done several programs on gangs in the past on this Austin Faith Dialogue series, but we've never asked former gang members to join us. This is an oversight that we're going to correct today. Now joining us are two former youth at risks. Our first guest is 16-year-old Patty Perez, who only 2 years ago was a gang wannabe. She's now a very successful student at Bowie High School and is also a staff member with Project Ethos. Our second guest is Rene Riojas, who at 17 was a gang leader. Now at 20, he works as a peer counselor at Middle Earth and is a youth advisor at the Texas Youth Commission. You'll recognize our final guest from the report we showed you earlier. Cindy Martinez is the program director of Youth Outreach Gang Intervention. Yogi is a very successful program that helps lead young people out of gangs and back into life. And we welcome you all. And I'd like, Cindy, just to follow up on that video that we saw, that you are indicating that you feel that more needs to be done than what you're doing.
Right.
And just pick up on that and tell us what does need to be done.
Well, I feel that we need to be more involved, more part of the kids. You know, we hear the stories, we see them at school, but we're not getting involved to find out why are these things happening. You know, what can I do for you? It's usually, what program can I put you in? You know, there's programs everywhere. And yeah, they're great programs, we need programs, but we need people to get involved. We need kids to know that there's someone I can trust, I can hold on to, that will support me, motivate me, care for me. That's what we really need.
I saw a newspaper report that indicated there was something like 70 gangs in Austin that at least people could identify. And if they said there was something like 15 to 20 members in each gang, and you take that number and figure that there are a lot more that aren't being counted. And here's just this vast problem number-wise. And here you are working with relatively few compared to that number. Can you put what you're doing in the context of what else is going on in the city to address this issue?
Well, there's a lot of programs that are coming up in the summer, especially this summer. They had a lot of jobs that were open. Project Essos was one of them. Communities in Schools was another. So I think that was really good, you know, getting them together, putting them to work, giving them some activity, getting them some leadership skills, basic skills, home skills, you know, just something to kind of motivate them and keep them busy for the summer.
So the job creation was part of the response to
Definitely.
trying to reach out. Okay. Renee, I think that we've learned that you're working with the Texas Youth Commission, and this is quite a contrast to what you were doing when you were 17 years old. What were you doing then, and how did you get to what you're doing now?
Then at that age, I mean, my life was mainly run with gangs and do whatever they were doing, because that's what I liked doing at the time. I found it interesting to carry the gun and deal the drugs and do the drive-bys and get shot at, and just we were constantly drinking. That was just my part of life. That was the way I knew, and that's what I wanted to be doing. Now, at the age I'm at now, what took me away from all that is I'd have to say is Yogi Cindy's program, because she helped me a lot. She talked to me, talked to my heart, and got me involved more with the church and finding my morals in life, and a lot of prayer and love from everybody here.
So the faith side of this had a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, very much. Just them loving me and caring about me and showing me different things in life is what took me out. And now, I mean, I'm up here at Council for Middle Earth, and we do gang intervention and prevention there, so.
Well, you know, I was struck by what was said on the video by Renee. He said, I'm making $1,000, at that time when he was active in the gangs, he was making $1,000 a day dealing drugs, and I mean, this is big money, and that sounds like that could be an allure to young folks to have that kind of power and wealth, and does that square with your experience?
Oh yeah, I mean, youth today see that they can make more than what their parents are making in a day. You know, it's like, I'm gonna do that. Why do I have to work? Why do I have to get up early and go to work and bust my butt when I can just hang out in the streets for a day and make $500 to $1,000, turn it around and make $3,000 more off of that? So
I'm going to come back to that, because it seems to me the motivations that get young people into this kind of what might be called organized crime, and yet as a peer group that gives acceptance and some sense of worth that they may not be finding elsewhere, that's obviously, unless the causes like that are dealt with, we're going to be always kind of just...
Yeah, they want things that are real, things that they can hold on to. They can say, okay, this is real, I can touch this. You know, you can tell them about programs, you can tell them about stuff, but gangs, they can feel that. They can see that. They can see the money in their hands, and that speaks a lot more clearer than someone saying, well, you need to better yourself.
Be a good citizen sort of thing.
Yeah, what do you mean better myself? This is bettering. And this is making money. I'm doing all right for myself. I see that. I'm seeing it. I'm holding it. They don't care about the future or the past. They care about what they can touch right now.
Okay, I have to immediately, however, I want to be knowing what a wannabe is, Patty.
I mean, it's just what the video said. It's like wanting to belong somewhere. I mean, wanting to feel accepted. I mean, and you're trying so hard, I mean, to be accepted by this certain group or gang and stuff that you go and do, I mean, stupid things for it and stuff. You never actually get in it, but you do all the things. It's like if you were in it, because you go and do everything else they're doing, but you actually just don't walk the line.
It's kind of a tryout relationship, just to kind of test it and see if you want to do that. And you drew back from that, though.
Yes.
What caused you not to go all the way?
Well, first, I mean, I was getting too involved. I started hanging around them every day. I mean, all the time and stuff. So I was like, well, I have to change, you know. But it's still, I didn't want to because of my family life. I mean, we're always getting into fights and everything, and I just don't want to be home either. So they invited me to go to Cindy's youth group, her prayer group.
Oh, I see.
And so I said, yeah, anything to get out of the house. So I went, and I liked it. I mean, Cindy wasn't telling us that we're bad kids and this and that. She was talking to us, not against us.
So that's an alternative community. In other words, if life was not good at home, on the one hand, you didn't want to be there, but getting into the gangs was going to be even worse, then here's a place that you could come and find some acceptance, and is that square with what you find kids doing? Just another place to go that's good.
And that's going to be told that they're okay. They're going to be told that they're special. They're going to be told that they're good. They already hear it from school. They already hear it from the community. They already hear it at home that you're a bad kid. You do, you're not doing well, and why do you put me through this? And why do I have to deal with you? They're like, I'm pretty. They feel really bad about themselves. But then when there's a stranger who says, hey, you're pretty special. I love you. I care about you. They're like, why? And the ones I love the most don't. And yet you're going to say you love me?
All right. That's self-esteem and self-affirmation is important in that. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll continue our discussion on the gang problem in Austin.
Serving Austin means serving you. Each day, Austin Metropolitan Ministries is religion in action, providing affordable housing, caring for the elderly, marching against hunger, and much more. AMM promotes understanding, cooperation, and social involvement. So when we ask for your help, we're really asking to help you, Austin. To find out how you can help Austin Metropolitan Ministries help Austin through its member organizations, just call 472-7627.
It's much more prevalent to have a single parent in the home. Usually through maybe 1 or 2 divorces, there's a lot of stepchildren involved. There's not the money there to support the children. They're out on their own. The parent, whoever is at the house, is trying to provide some source of income for them. So they're not there to supervise, nor are they there just to give them the love and understanding and leadership these kids need. So they go to each other for help and guidance. So you've got a child guiding another child who does not have the knowledge or skills to help the other one.
Right. I think that as we come back to our guest, Cindy Martinez, and I think that we would like to have you pick up on that, because I have the feeling that there may be an oversimplification there, and I wonder if it's all the family's fault. That's basically what I'm wondering from that.
Oh, no. We've got kids that have the best families, the best home atmosphere, the best home support, and yet they're very much involved. They have more of the, how would you say, scamming. They know exactly what they want, and they're very intelligent, and they help, get what they need. And what they're looking for is just that self-esteem that I can do it. I don't need to do this, but I can do it.
Well, if it's not all the family's fault, I think it probably would be fair to say that in as many instances as not, there's something in the family that's not meeting needs of children.
Definitely.
Would you all agree with that?
Yes.
What is it from your own experience that was lacking in the family side that, in retrospect, could have made a difference if it had been there?
In mine, I mean, just the fact that I did come from a broken home. My father was an alcoholic and an abuser, so that's all I saw for the first 16 years of my life. I mean, that's all I knew was for my father to come home drunk and abuse me and my mother and the rest of my brothers and sisters. And at the age where I started to get involved with the streets and the gangs, they were going through so big of a divorce, to where my mom was working 2 jobs and not paying attention to us. We had to clothe ourselves, feed ourselves, and take care of ourselves, raise ourselves, because she was so into that divorce.
So there was a neglect there that meant that you were looking for someplace else to go to get some attention.
Oh, yeah. And what I did is when I started hanging out with the gangs is, to me, I feel that everybody that goes and starts with the gangs, it's just, they just want to see what's there. And when I first went, to me, it was neat to see all the guns and the drugs everywhere, and to hold the gun, and it gave me power. And nobody doesn't take that power away unless you can take that gun away.
Okay, so just having a gun in your hand gives you some sense of control and power.
It gave me a lot of power. Well, that's the way I felt then.
Okay. Patty, from the family side, what would have made the difference for you?
If my family would have taken the time to say, hey, I love you, and you're special, but all I ever heard was, you're worthless and you're never going to amount to anything. And it hurt coming from my own family, and so I just said, well, I don't need y'all. And I just went off into the streets and started taking care of myself.
Well, you know, one of the things I've had kind of replaying in my mind over the last months about the connection between the gang activity and one of the social facts of our time, and that's what's called latchkey kids. That there are an increasing number of families where kids come home to empty houses, and that there's a vacuum, and that maybe, again, not all of these instances can be related to that, but it's kind of like that this generation is a judgment on the preceding generation that says, we're not going to give you the mind that you need. And, well, we'll show you, sort of thing, that we'll find a way to make our life worthwhile and prove ourselves. And so maybe just that much of a focus upon the family life is an indication that the church certainly comes into play there as a strengthener of family values. If we talk about family values not as a political football, but as a reality that we can work on, what do you think families can do that would make a difference?
Oh, there's so much. But like Renee was saying, they were surviving. His mother had to work 2 jobs. It's not that she wanted to. It's not that she said, well, this is what I want to do to my kids. This is what she had to do. And it was hard. And she thought she was doing the best for her kids. And Renee being the oldest, he took a lot of it. He had to be father. He had to be mother. He had to be provider. And at that age, they're like, I don't want to be. Why should I be? I want to be a kid. I want to have fun. I want to go outside. I want to do things as a family. But yet they don't see that. So as family, let's talk about those hurts. Let's talk about why we had to get the divorce. Let's talk about what can we do to fix that now.
Yeah.
Or where do you play? What part are you in that? What part do you play in that? And it's not your fault. Kids right away feel like, oh, Dad and Mom are fighting because of me, or I did this, or maybe I shouldn't have talked back, or maybe I should have stayed home, or maybe I treated Dad wrong and that's why he does what he does. Kids take a blame for a lot.
So in other words, in addition to recognizing the fact that some parents, because of economic circumstances, have to be out of the home to be working and just making ends meet, nevertheless, there's always a place to sit down and talk.
Yes.
And say, let's talk about the divorce, or let's talk about what you're feeling. There's always room to do that and to show that care. And if just that much care was shown, it could make a difference.
Oh, it can make a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to back off just for a moment from the family side to looking at the community in a little broader way. I was quoting earlier in the show that there's been an estimate of something like 70 gangs in Austin. I know before the show, Renee, you were telling me that there were 3 main ones that have been here for quite a while, and one of these has been here for several generations. Yeah. In case our viewers never have an opportunity to hear about that from someone who really's been expert on that, could you just share the picture?
The way I see it is there's over 75 gangs in Austin and thousands of gang members, including wannabes and anybody else. You have your three main gangs in Austin, and they originate from East Austin, and one of them's been around for up to 3 or 4 generations.
Now, which one is that? The one that
we prefer not to say
I
names.
see. Okay.
Okay.
But there's some that are in the press that you hear about.
Yeah.
What are some of the names of?
In the press, I mean, they're all there. I mean, you've heard them all from what?
I've heard something like Latin Kings, or
there's the Latin Kings, and there's the EGV, and then there's, you know. Are these gangs divided in Hispanic groups, black groups, white groups? How does it group itself?
It's not a racial thing. Each one, I mean, have the black guys and the white guys and Hispanic guys. They're all there.
You mean the gangs are integrated?
Very much so.
And they don't. Like in West Side Story, you had the Puerto Rican gang and the Italian group, and it doesn't break down that simply here.
No, not at all.
Okay, I think one reason it's helpful to kind of see the big picture is that this has been with us for a while. But one of the officers in the preceding film clip had said that it's gotten worse. Is that true? Is it worse than it used to be, the gang problem? And why? And do any of you have any thoughts about that?
It's a lot worse than what it used to be, and the fact that the wars are started over the smallest things. I mean, you have a lot of gang wars started because of girls, or because one gang jumped another guy, and it's real small things that'll start a huge gang war, in which people get hurt in, people get shot, killed. I mean, I've seen innocent people get shot just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, down to a 3-year-old girl. So.
Just kind of an accidental sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's no conscience about, if I do this, what's going to happen. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. And they don't even say, well, what if this is going to happen? Or what if someone else is there? Or what if we shoot the wrong person? They don't even think about that. They just go out there to prove a job. And if they do it and they don't have that conscience, they're like, all right, I'm bad. See, I'm scared of anything. I can handle any situation. I'm able to take care of it.
Talk to me about the graffiti. I have made a connection there with the biblical handwriting on the wall, that is a sign of the times. That's somebody communicating something to you. What's being communicated by graffiti?
I mean, everybody's doing it. Everybody has different street names. Everybody goes by a street name, and they'll put it on the walls with spray paint in different ways, and all that's saying is just they've been there. Or they'll put the gang name, and they're just saying, we've been there.
This doesn't necessarily mean this is our turf and don't transgress this.
I've never seen gangs as a turf-based thing. I mean, I've never seen them fight over turf. It's nothing about that.
It's almost like advertisement. They're advertising. You know, this is who I belong, and this is, we're going to let everyone in Austin know that I've been here and that, you know, I'm a part of this gang, and my gang's going to be known everywhere. Because I'll have guys a couple of times with me in the car, and they're like, I did that, I did that, I did that. You know, they point at the different, you know, tagging they did. And I would tell them, you know, put it to art. Put it on paper. Do something with it. Create something with it. And a lot of them have. A lot of them have.
It's an artistic impulse that's not serving a socially constructive purpose. And that could be converted. Just in our closing minute or so here, Cindy, you're working, again, your location is where you do your meeting with folks.
At 2105 Parker Lane.
And you're making some attempt to expand beyond that. In what way?
Well, we're hoping to create more activity. We have the recreation on Thursdays, and then we have the prayer meetings on Wednesday. And what I'm hoping to do, you know, hopefully by next year, is have more of a multi-purpose center that's open 24 hours a day and give the kids, whether they need to take a bath, whether they need to eat, whether they need counseling, whether they need babysitting, whether they need AIDS counseling, whatever their needs are, that they know that there's somewhere in Austin that they can go to any time of the day, and there will be someone there to take care of them.
More rounded center. Well, I would like to round up our discussion to say that it's just been a blessing to have you folks here with us. And we'd like to thank our guests, Cindy Martinez and Renee Riojos and Patty Perez, for joining us and to discuss this very important issue. I'd like to thank you folks for watching, and we invite you to be back next week for another edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. On behalf of Austin Metropolitan Ministries, I'm Richard Thompson. Until next time, peace be with you. For more information, call Austin Metropolitan Ministries